Tell me, there's a time the president disappeared for a long time. He was not seen in public. I just want to understand, where did he go to? He disappeared for a long time, and you were the AG also. The time he stayed for so long without appointing a vice president, I think after the late Saitoti, and then brought Saitoti back. What was happening? Was that also an advice given to him, or it was purely his?
No, on Saitoti, I don't think the president disappeared from Kenya.
No, there's a time he was not seen in public for quite a long time.
No, I remember at one time.
Yes, in the 90s.
Because the news used to be, say on a Sunday, the president today was in a church, I don't know, the money, whatever. That was the first item every Sunday.
Yes, with his picture.
But then on one Sunday, that news item was not there. And the whole country said, where is the president?
Where is the president?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't long.
It wasn't about a week?
No.
It wasn't a week?
It was not even a week.
Okay. I was much younger. I just remember.
Maybe 3-4 days.
He wasn't seen in public, and it caused anxiety.
But it was caused by that news item not being there.
Mtukufu Rais.
Even he never went to church today. I mean, what is it? Is he sick? Is he what?
Is he sick?
Okay. So the time he took long to appoint a vice president, what happened?
I think it was just about a month, is it?
It was a long time.
No. It was quite some
More
time.
than 2 months?
No, it was his decision.
Just a month.
It was his decision. He was the constitution that was there. He was in control, as far as I'm concerned, and he saw no reason to make his decision about a vice president at that time. That was the constitution that was in existence at that time. All right. So for him to make a choice of who would be vice president, he took his time. That's the famous time when he reappointed the late Saitoti.
Yes.
At the roadside. But you know the interesting thing about Kenyans.
He also sacked all the cabinet.
Yeah, Kenyans are very interesting. You know I think what Ken.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay, the whole cabinet. He was the only one.
I was the only one.
I think
Perhaps he rendered that advice.
Yeah, I think what you wanted to talk about is that when you say he was not there, I remember there was a time the president had a cold and he was coughing and his voice was down. And I think at that time, like any normal human being, I think he took a break from the public limelight. And of course, there were all sorts of aspersions about his health and so forth. But my friend, those aspersions were how many years ago?
So many. 90s.
Yeah.
The 90s.
He is a man
yes.
who has passed away at 95. You know,
and the Lingiro says
103. 203. So if he had a cough
in the 90s.
In the 90s,
Yes.
if people were
he was sick or he was not at that time.
probably he could have been indisposed like any other.
He went to check his eyes.
Yeah.
So I just remember there was a lot of anxiety about
this
because he was always there.
Yeah.
So this was purely his discretion not to stay without vice president for that period. I don't remember. Perhaps in my head it was longer than 3-4
Because you were
months.
younger.
No, it was longer.
It was longer.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Longer than
It was
6
longer.
months.
Yes.
No, it was much longer.
It was a long time, almost 9 months.
9 months. 9 months without a
9
vice
months.
president. Yes. And then yes. So this is a question that I want to put.
I remember that when now he was rotating the people as leader of government business.
Yeah.
You know, this is the time he had Ngala and me.
And you were three, you, Gala, and somebody.
There was somebody, there were 3.
Well, I can't remember the other one. So we served as leader of government business for a while.
Interchangeable.
Because the vice president was ordinarily or constitutionally the leader of government business. So there was that period. But his business was conducted and he finally...
without a doubt, that was the brainchild.
And I believe in the constitution that we have, the Kenyan people sought to try and address that scenario where you don't have a gap for too long before you have a vice president. Now that is in our current constitution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a question that has been put and it's a concern of many, and my colleague Jimmy Gathu, I bet you all know him, has asked me to ask you this question. So he says, how would you, all of you, and I'll begin with Mama Phoebe again on this, how would you label the late president, the way he handled dissent and dissenting views, especially when issues of the death of Dr. Robert Ouko came up, the jailing of Raila Odinga, Kenneth Matiba, how would you say he handled dissent and different opinions on this?
Those were the agony of our nation when such prominent people are suddenly assassinated from very high positions, and those positions remain the vacuum, and the country was right to question. And I think at that time Kenyans really suffered. They wanted to know the truth and what would have happened. And I know much later in his life, Moi had a discussion with Mrs. Ouko, and I believe he told her the truth. I mean, only Moi can do that. So that as a Christian, he was able to, you know, explain the situation and what actually happened. I don't believe any other president
would have done that.
Would have wanted to do that. And remember, right from the beginning, Moi was always very loyal to the president. He never wavered his loyalty.
President Kenyatta?
Yes, he was very loyal to President Kenyatta throughout his life until Kenyatta died, and then he took over. Ouko was a very close friend.
And very loyal also.
Yes, of Moi. And I think
even a week before they died, they were somewhere in the US?
They were together.
Yes.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, the same thing they have gone to do right now. Raila Odinga
Maybe
and
the Attorney
President
General we can talk more
on
this particular issue
Yes,
of
yes.
assassinations of Kenyan.
Sorry,
Robert Ouko.
Yeah. Dr. Robert Ouko, Raila Odinga, the jail. These were people with different views from Raila Odinga, his arrest and detention by Moi, and obviously Kenneth Matiba also. How he handled people who
Let me handle Kenneth Matiba and Raila.
Yes.
That's why I'm saying the period after 1991, you take that into account, they were released. And I can tell you that without breaking any secrecy and so on, I know how they were released. Matiba was released. We got reports and so on, and we acted on them, and Moi immediately ordered the release and treatment. Raila will tell you that he had gone to, he was released, okay? And then he went to Sweden, Norway. He went to Norway, and his passport expired, and he had no way of coming back. And somehow he didn't get it. I happened to be in London at that time, and then Baroness Choka, we had some discussions, and somehow Raila then came to London. Then I told Baroness Choka that there's nothing to stop Raila from flying back home.
Okay.
Of course, I telephoned home, and Sally Kosgei at that time was the High Commissioner in London. And I had gotten the go-ahead to instruct London to give him the papers to fly back home.
Okay.
And he flew back home.
Okay.
The Ouko, of course, one of those cases where it's always mysterious. Because as a government, it happened before he became Attorney General.
Yes, 1990.
Yeah, and
he came in 1991.
Troon was,
John Troon
was appointed by the government. Because of the way it was, we thought that the Scotland Yard, CID, if he came here,
yes.
he will be able to unravel whatever it is. And he came here, and he carried out the investigations and so on. We even had, if I remember correctly, we even had a judicial commission of
inquiry, yes.
Which recommended further investigations along particular lines. That was when they reached the end. The further investigations were ordered, and in fact, even Biwott, you remember? People don't remember this. Biwott was actually arrested. And Oyugi, who are very powerful people in government at that time.
At that time, Interior Ministry, an equivalent of Interior Cabinet
Now,
Secretary.
that could not have happened without the president then, teacher of Moi, knowing, wishing that he really wanted to go to the bottom of the matter.
Okay.
Because the reports of Troon were tending to point to, there was much evidence, but they were tending to point there.
Okay.
So he said, okay, let them be arrested.
Ministry of Security.
Until they were arrested. We carried on the investigations. There was very much to link the death to these two, but there was enough evidence to link the death to Anguka and some other people. They were prosecuted. You may remember. They were prosecuted when they were about to complete.
He died.
Fidel Hussein,
yes,
the judge. The judge died. We had to start all over again, and then they were acquitted.
Okay. Very interesting. This is something that is still mysterious to a lot of Kenyans, especially the explanation even up to now. Yes,
If I
I
can
agree.
say something.
Yes.
It was very mysterious. In fact, that time, I happened to be with the president in Laikipia. And then we were in Rimruti. When he got this message for Ouko disappearing, and he was shocked. I could see. I could see that he was shocked. Because he said, now, sasa hii nini? What has happened? Huh? You know, here is my loyal minister. What has really happened, you see? So we came back to the State House, and he called Oyugi and asked Oyugi, what is this? What's happened? Please go and find out. Because you see, I think he also had some liking for Ouko.
He was the Foreign Affairs Minister, right?
He was Foreign Affairs Minister.
Foreign Affairs, and Hezekiah Oyugi was
and you
security.
See, you see, when
and Ochuka was Luo was also
yes.
Ochuka at that time. Ochuka, yes, Ochuka. Yeah. No, Anguka, sorry, Anguka.
It was DC.
DC at that time, yes.
So when we came here, and we were having some tea, and Moi left, and we were sitting, everybody was wondering. Because first of all, nobody could understand how the government can clear Ouko. Number one, he was not a threat, even to the president himself. You know, the president clears someone when he's a threat, when he's causing problems. But him, he was a very calm person. So this was just us talking. What could have happened? Because people were surprised. But as you say, it was mysterious.
Yeah, and still remains a mystery.
And I think even for Moi, he didn't know. He was not sure of what had happened.
Okay. All right.